And let's go from Ozzy coming to the stage. Let's go from Ozzy to what people have been talking, especially in our circles that we navigate. Speaking of going off the rails with a crazy train, let's talk about the last member of the celebrity triumvirate that passed away over the past weekend, and it is none other than Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan. So this is the big one. This is the one people have been hitting me up all weekend. Like, when are you guys going to talk about Hulk? When are you guys going to talk about Hulk? Like, we need to hear Nefarious' thoughts on Hulk. We need to hear the NWA guys' thoughts on Hulk. Like, what do you think about this? So we've got thoughts because, again, Ray, a word that was thrown around a lot last week was complicated when we learned of the passing of Terry Bollea. And I would say, like Kate from Montreal, I was on with her on Saturday night for the Collision course over at Post Wrestling. And I think she said one of the most poignant things about this, because I was like, it's, if you actually look at who Terry Bollea was, particularly in his final years, it's not complicated at all.
No.
But I understand why some wrestling fans are grappling with this. And she was just kind of like, complicated is a word people often use a lot of times when they're trying to unpack their trauma and unpack their abuse. Like, if you grew up in a bad household, like you're like, yeah, my relationship with my parents was complicated. It doesn't mean your parents were good people, but it's like there are things that you owe to your parents just for being here. But it's also like you kind of have to grapple with stuff. And so I understand there's a lot of people who wouldn't be fans of wrestling if not for Terry Bollea. Like, none of us fall in that category. Maybe Ray does. I'm not sure. I haven't asked him. But like, if Terry Bollea brought you to this thing and now he's gone and you're like, how do I kind of make this work? I understand it's complicated in a personal sense, Chris, but if we're just looking at the guy, if we're just looking at this human being, it's not complicated at all. I know you got thoughts, Doc. I'm going to let you lead off. Thoughts on the passing of Terry Bollea,
to piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, a lot of, the people that listen to our show were getting at me. Some of them seemed like they couldn't wait for us to like dance on this man's grave, and that's just not me. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like,
that's what to say, Chris.
But it's to me, the word complicated, like Kate said, it's how people unpack trauma. There was nothing complicated about Hulk Hogan. He was a racist bastard who he wasn't just racist as in I said the N-word, I'm sorry. There wasn't like a Morgan Wallen type situation where he was having fun conversationally using the N-word. Hulk Hogan in those tapes revealed some very deep-seated, dark, racist thoughts that he had that did not share with people until that tape got released,
Right.
And then I was listening to, I didn't hear the whole thing. I do want to hear all of Brooke Hogan's. I'd actually want to interview Brooke Hogan too. Yeah. But she said in the tape, like, this dude, she hated her because she was dating a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was out of her mouth. She hadn't talked to him in 2 years. She was estranged from him, but she did say the last thing she said to him 2 years ago was that she loved him.
Right.
People don't understand these like parental dynamics sometimes. And I could kind of relate to Brooke because I've had issues like this with my own mother. Me and my mom are on speaking terms because I made it a point to, straighten out what was going on with us. But, there are times in people's lives where, you have done all you can and like you're an adult now and you don't need people passing judgment on you. If you want to date a black guy, that's your business. That's not your dad's business. And I'm sure hearing that tape, as crazy as it was for us, because we had fun with that shit. I still remember that day. It was dark and horrible, but we've been milking that shit for years.
That was and to this day, Andrew Thompson said one of his favorite memories of being on a podcast is when he was first on the NWA podcast when it was part of the Kings of Sport Network, and we were talking about this Hogan thing because it was right afterwards, I think.
Yeah,
and I was just like, my biggest thing is, Terry, you just finished sleeping with your best friend's wife. I've never seen somebody be so mad during the refractory period. Like, how you gonna just drop some N-words during the refractory period, my brother?
Yeah. And for me, it was the dropping of the N-words, but also just the undertones of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can forgive N-word use. I got no problem doing that. I've done it before. You know, they get a stern talking to.
I think one of the, like, I'm thinking of in particular about the tape with Nick Hogan when Nick was in jail, when Hulk is like, you know, I just don't want to see you turn out like, you know, some of these Blizzard guys. Like, that to me may have been as offensive, if not more offensive, than the N-word, because like
tried to use Carney.
Trying to use the Carney with your kid that's in jail. Don't end up like those Blizzard guys, brother.
Yeah, and I did a whole timeline because I asked ChatGPT to give me a timeline of all of Hulk Hogan's fuckery. And it's a long list of it, you know. He's like, this guy just, you know, we're going to talk about some of the good things he did, but he did just so much evil in his last 10 years. He was never sorry for using the N-word, or even having the thoughts that he had. And when he saw MAGA becoming a thing, he could have drew his line in the sand and been like, you know, I don't stand for any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, he did the opposite. He was like, you know, these are my people. You know, he found the mothership when he joined that MAGA movement. And for someone like me, that can never be forgotten. I can appreciate the stuff that I like about him. I think the complicated part is just reconciling, because I don't think his legacy is complicated. I think complicated part is people reconciling the stuff they liked about him versus the stuff that was detestable. And
real quick, Chris, I'm just gonna cut in real quick and I'll let you finish because I want to bring up something that I re-skeeted on Blue Sky the other day. So Dave Zirin, editor of The Nation and a great writer from out of Chicago that normally covers sports, wrote about Hulk Hogan the day he passed. And his words, Ray, were, Hulk Hogan should be remembered as a living expression of our national decay. A hero exposed as a fraud exposed as a coward, and finally, a coward who cried with joy upon finding an authoritarian monster to tell him that his sins were in fact his biggest virtues. And I was like, damn, Dave, like, damn. So what do you think about that? And also, you know, continue about what you were saying about Hulk's legacy, Chris.
I mean, that's 100% true. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we all have to draw our lines in the sand at some point in our life. And we might have to do it at multiple points in our life where we're at a fork in the road, decide which one we're going to walk past. Two roads diverged in the yellow wood, the line in the sand, all that shit applies. And when it's time to do that, which side are you going to be on? You know, and Hogan took the easy way out. I don't know if Hogan, Hogan was such a disingenuous person that, like, I mean, even till the last week of his life were shrouded with lies that his people were telling the public, you know, because it's like the guy was on the brink of death, you know. I do kind of believe Jimmy Hart when he said the last time he talked to him, they sounded excited about the future and stuff like that. But I mean, the guy was not well, you know. I think the truth was closer to what Bubba the Love Sponge was saying more than it was to everybody else, you know. The last topic we covered on this show, not this like last month, was the beef he had with Benjamin Shelton, you know. Like, this guy did not know how to stop lying. Lying was second nature to this guy. It was when the truth was the easiest thing to do, he always chose lying. And that's something that, you know, you can't ever forget about him, you know.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
Chris, let me just, if I could just interject a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
That right there is kind of how I don't see how this is complicated, because this brother, his public persona was so manicured, and like he would go to any lengths to boost up the public persona of his character. But in the one instance that he's being vulnerable and he's being truthful is the instance where he kind of reveals himself to be this bigot and this it's like, this is how we found out the truth about you. And you can say all this stuff about, oh, well, I didn't mean for it to go out, and I didn't mean, like, you got to watch what you say behind closed doors. You never know. That's not the point. The issue is that you felt comfortable enough to reveal the truth about yourself when we literally go through lie after lie after lie that you tell on camera or every time that you're in a public space to make yourself seem like a bigger than life character.
Right. And the thing that was killing me with this shit is that I understand if there was a mitigating circumstance behind him using the N-word, I'd still be pissed, but I'd be like, well, his daughter did just get assaulted by a black guy, so she went through some trauma. Or his wife got mugged by a couple,
like your man's Liam Neeson.
Right, something like that. This guy was in, like we were talking about on this show when it happened. This was after sex, where you're usually the most chill.
The refractory period, right? Refractory.
Yeah, and he was just casually talking about how much he hates these N-words, and the only way he'd see value in his daughter being with the N-word is if it was a rich N-word, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
This was this guy's thoughts, and that's why I don't understand why people like they get upset with those of us who have a problem with it, you know? He did not give a sincere apology. He wasn't sorry about it. The only way he would have been sorry about it is if he lived long enough to get a few more reactions like he got in Los Angeles, and where the boos were just going. It's you know, this kind of reminds me of the Epstein files, right? Because since we talked about it on the NWA podcast, that noise has gotten louder. Trump has tried to hide from it. He flew to Ireland. Every time he gets a chance, he tries to change.
Don't forget about Obama in Russia. Obama's in Russia.
Right, yeah. And then I wrote an article on that too that's going to be published by Lincoln Square also, on him diverting to blaming black people to get him out of this mess, because that's the racist instinct, that's the racist reflex these motherfuckers have, you know. And Hogan was trying for the longest time. He was doing that. It wasn't, LA was not the first time he got booed.
He got booed in Tampa.
He got
his hometown.
Yeah, like the boos were getting louder.
Yep.
It didn't matter if they were in a red state or a blue state.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting louder. It didn't matter if it was a MAGA wrestler or a non-MAGA wrestler. Hogan was not respected by his contemporaries. He was respected as, yeah, he brought the business to the next level. You know, people are kind of waxing poetic about him now that he's gone, but like he was not a good guy. He just wasn't. You can't. You can try to change it into this guy like stopping people from forming unions. He was happy that he was getting his piece of the pie. Damn the rest of you motherfuckers. I'm eating well. Stop people from getting pushed. When he was leaving to go to WCW, would not put over Bret the Hitman Hart. Cut that promo for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is actually one of my favorite Hogan promos, where he talks about the WWF Championship and he compares it to a trinket, a toy on a Christmas tree. What I really want is the IWPG title. Basically trying to leverage I don't feel sorry for McMahon, but
no.
This was the kind of person that he was. You know?
He didn't want to put over Sting at Starrcade, man.
Didn't want to put over Sting. Didn't want to put over Bret Hart. Some people were saying he should have tapped to Bret Hart in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania 9. I would have been happy if he just got pinned. If Bret Hart did that pin where he kicks himself off of the top rope, hooks him into a pinfall, I wouldn't have been mad at that. But Hogan was a selfish person, man. The people he was most comfortable around were other lackeys. He was not comfortable around his equals. People like Macho Man didn't seem to like him. He loved Brutus Beefcake, and even they were beefing when he died. He was cool with like the Virgils of the world. He was cool with, you know, Knobs from the Nasty Boys, maybe Sax too. Just people that would kiss his ass and tell him he was the greatest person. But you could start to see why he latched onto MAGA so like well as he was dying. This real American wrestling is gonna be a fucking flop. It was gonna be a flop if he was alive, so you don't have to blame. If Eric Bischoff or Jimmy Hart or any of those people start saying, "Well, if Hogan was here, we would have had a better." No, you wouldn't have. This shit was a dumb idea.
You may have gotten 3 more episodes if Hulk was here. That's about it.
Yeah. It's destined to be a flop. The fact that you guys have like enablers like trying to get that bullshit off the ground just says a lot about the profession of wrestling. You know, it's just like, why are you trying to like give this shit legs? And you're like, oh, it's giving guys jobs. Yeah, jobs for a plantation owner, you know. It's like when do we settle with those scraps, right? Like I'm all for people working, but I don't need them working for Leonardo DiCaprio's character in fucking Django.
The Candy. Was it Clarence Candy or something?
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. But yeah, I don't need that shit, man. If you get a job, man. I mean, Vince McMahon is. We already had one plantation owner in wrestling.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon was a plantation owner. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. The way he stood over Trish Stratus and had her bark like a dog, that was straight out of fucking antebellum South. You know what I'm saying? What they used to do to the black women that they used to rape. They would, you know, have to talk down to them to make themselves feel better about getting with slave women, you know? So, I mean, and then Hogan, I guess, trying to bring it back to the plantation South, coming on Fox Nation. Come on, man. Like,
Well, and Ray is sitting here wondering, like, what does this do for my stock in Real American Beer, guys?
No, I actually would put a little bit of stock not in the beer, but in the wrestling, because it's not like a professional wrestling promotion, but it's for amateur wrestlers. And with me being a follower of amateur wrestling and also being a volunteer coach for our high school's wrestling team, like I was really interested because they did have some big time names. Like
Ray said, he's trying to be the Real American Wrestling Freestyle Champion. Chris, stop messing with his dreams.
I don't want them problems. They say Gabe Stevenson's supposed to be up there. I ain't trying to mess with that man. But they got like some big time names within the world of
amateur
wrestling, but in terms of folk style and Olympic style wrestling, like I said, Gabe Stevenson, Kyle Snyder, who actually has some baggage of his own, but former Olympian as well. Kennedy Blades, who's becoming like a big time breakout star within women's wrestling, and so they have like some decent names attached to it. Chael Sonnen, who was going to be one of the commentators.
So the thing with these amateur promotions, and this has been tried before. Hogan isn't the first person to do this with amateur wrestling. There was a promotion in, I want to say the 2000s or the 90s. It was called Real Professional Wrestling, and basically it was just amateur wrestling, and they got a bunch of big names to do it, and maybe it lasted on, I want to say ESPN or Fox Sports, when the regional Fox Sports, not FS1. It did not last for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling is just not a sport like that, Like, put it this way. When you are when you are a skater, when you are a skateboarder, or you're doing MMA or anything like that, there was a time, and not until Dana White fucked it up, but where people would pay you to just wear their brands to the octagon, the mat, whatever.
Yep.
No one's doing that with amateur wrestling. If they could, they would, but it's just not. That's just, no one's doing that because nobody's going to be watching it like that.
That's true.
So it's we'll see what happens with it, but it's. People like professional wrestling because of the characters,
Right.
That's the thing. And people watch MMA for the hope of seeing someone that you don't like get their ass beat,
Right.
Wrestling isn't, and I used to wrestle. Wrestling isn't a sport where you beat somebody up. It's a sport where you grapple them, you get pins, you score off of points and stuff like that. But nobody gets their ass beat after a wrestling match. The worst that happens is you get tired and winded, and somebody might sneak in a few scratches on you and shit. But it's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not as exciting as a sport to pull in like casual fans. If you've been a fan of amateur wrestling, then you're most definitely gonna be down. But what about the other 70 or 80% of sports fans who just come across and like, why are these dudes hugging each other? What is going like? There's no like big excitement around it, and like you said, the characters is what brings people into pro wrestling. Like you got some people like Pat Downey, who's kind of like a character in and of his own right, or AJ Ferrari, who is a good character. But by and large, most of like amateur wrestlers, they're just like boring guys, and they're just like they let their actions on the mat speak for themselves. But I'm glad you brought up Eric Bischoff, brother Chris. Because for one, when asked on X if Real American freestyle wrestling was going to be still going on, he says, quote, "The show must go on." So but also I wanted to go through some of the tributes by mixed martial artists or by combat sports luminaries, there it is, that's the word, as well as pro wrestling luminaries who had some very good things to say in the wake of Hulk Hogan's passing. So we got here, first off, we were talking about Tampa and your boy Titus O'Neil weighed in. My condolences to the family of Hulk Hogan. As a legendary figure in professional wrestling, he helped shape the industry and inspire generations of fans and athletes. His impact in sports and entertainment will be remembered for years to come. Then you have George St. Pierre, former UFC welterweight champion and middleweight champion. They say you should never meet your idols, but meeting Hulk Hogan made me admire him even more. He was so generous with his time and an inspiration, not only as an athlete and entertainer, but also as a human being. He will be missed by us all. R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. You wanted to say something, Chris?
You leave this up for a second. So I like the comparison between the two.
Yes.
GSP is like glowingly praising this piece of shit Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Titus O'Neil left the most obvious statement on the
company man.
You know, he didn't pay him any compliments. He basically is basically stating the obvious.
He basically did what Tony Schiavone did on Collision the other night. He's like, we just want to take a moment and remember Hulk Hogan, who passed away. He was one of the biggest, most influential stars in wrestling. This is tough for a family. We want to send thoughts out to his family. Rest in peace, brother. It's like,
it's one of those things, man. But I just want to just point that out. I'm wondering if someone, if Titus O'Neil got shotgunned into leaving that statement.
I love the fact that he put that picture up, because it's just like, I feel like this is a little bit of subversion going on here.
Yeah.
With Titus, where he's like, and this is what we talked about with Kate, what I talked about with Kate the other night. Like, yes, you cannot, like, regardless of how you feel about Terry Bollea, you cannot make the claim that Hulk Hogan is not one of the most influential people in this business's history. Like, that's a fact. But I think Titus is just like, like y'all know what he was, but you also know what he was, and that's why I'm gonna put this picture here, because if you know about this picture, then you'd really know what he was. And it's like, I see you, Titus.
It's so transparent and stuff. And we'll talk about some of the. I'm sure we're gonna talk about the memories that we like with Hulk Hogan. I'm gonna do it at least, you know.
Yeah. Well, save it, Chris. It may come up later when we at the pond, Chris.
Right. Yeah. But you know, I'm not gonna, just because he passed away, pretend like this guy was something that he wasn't, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, continue on with the tributes from the luminaries. All right. So hold on. So Kevin Nash, now the only surviving member of the original NWO. I lost another brother. Icon doesn't even touch it. Rest in power, my friend. NWO for life and beyond.
I'll call Nash as sincere. Now read the next one, please.
Shawn Michaels is quoting a tweet from Triple H with his announcement, or with his condolences for Terry. But Shawn Michaels says, a legend, a larger-than-life presence. Hulk Hogan didn't just work in the business, he transformed it. Rest in peace.
These are not real.
They're like surface level, yeah.
They ain't real broke up about it, is what you're saying, Chris.
Right, yes. These are not like tribute tweets, man.
Okay. So Chris, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So in this hypothetical scenario that should never happen,
right?
Let's say you pass away, Brother Marcus passes away, and the Cheese Man passes away.
Right.
Maybe he chokes on some Gouda or something, and that was wrong. And I'm the only one left. If my tribute tweet for you, Chris, was, man, lost another brother. Chris didn't just work at the Nefarious Media Network. He transformed it. I'll see you later. Like, come on, Chris. You know that ain't no real tribute.
These are just like it's just the gradations between these tweets and stuff, man.
You got Shivani's right. You got Shivani's queued up.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That to me was the best one.
That was the best one. I'll put that one up, but that's guys. I'm building us up. I'm building us up. So, like you said, Chris, you have different levels. You have some people who are completely sincere. You have other people. I don't know why. Is that? Oh, sorry. That's on here. That's do you? I had to, for some reason I got like a second window for StreamYard up, and it started playing like the last Parley episode, and then I started hearing like dog. I was like, Taraji, calm down. We're not doing that no more. All right,
we already did it.
But yes, you had, like you said, you had a spectrum of responses from completely sincere to kind of seemingly manufactured to I'm just saying this so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
And then you got Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff, thanks for the house holster. This brother just told you all it was. Like, I don't care about the human being, but hey, he put butts in seats. He got us paid. Thank you, Hulk.
P.S. The show must go on. Real American Freestyle Wrestling coming soon.
Yeah, if anybody should be grateful for Hogan's contributions, Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff especially, because WCW was dying a death in the early 90s. Even though I actually love WCW 91 and 92.
Yeah.
I think those are underrated years for it. But by the time 93, when the Bill Watts era, the spin the wheel, make the deal foolishness and all that stuff, it was dying a death. Hogan put him on life support in his early years. When he joined the NWO, that's what put them on the map.
Yes.
You know, and if it was anybody else that was booking that wasn't the idiot Eric Bischoff was, WCW probably still be around, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I'm trying to sift through Tony Schiavone just ripping through people for I guess responding to his well. All right.
So to set it up, somebody on Twitter, on X, asked like, "Hey Tony, aren't you going to say anything about Hulk Hogan's passing? Like, wasn't he like a good friend of yours?"
Yeah. Where'd they get that from?
To which Tony Schiavone replied,
I wish I could. I know. I see what you're doing there.
I was trying to give you some time, Ray Williams.
Well, I'm sifting through. It looks like he might have.
Did he delete?
Oh,
did he tweet and delete?
No, he did not. I thought he did. He did not. Let me go
Stand on business, Schiavone.
All right, share screen. So go ahead. Rewind.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, Chris, but a fan had tweeted at Tony Schiavone, and he was just asking him, like, "Hey, aren't you going to say anything about the Hulkster passing? Like, wasn't he a good friend of yours? Weren't you guys buddies?" To which Tony Schiavone said, Ray Williams.
Tony Schiavone said, oh, got it on the wrong page. All right, here we go. Long-time friend, no. Co-worker, yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Case closed.
That's how a lot of people felt about this guy. I think people like create these dream scenarios in their heads where, you know, their favorite guy gets along with every other wrestler in the business, and they're just respected and loved and adored, especially those racist MAGA ones, like Jason Aledo probably, where they think like this Hogan was not a good person. I keep trying to tell this to people. It doesn't matter what city they were in, those boos were gonna get worse. There's a reason why he wasn't on that episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, or why he wasn't on subsequent episodes of Saturday Night's Main Event, because it just would have been bad optics for WWE. You know, we gotta call a thing a thing.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna do anything else, that's we owe it to ourselves to do at least that.
Yeah. I think when you look at Terry Bollea, and I'll kind of start to wind down this part of the show, but I think when you look at Terry Bollea, Chris, when he passed, I got a lot of messages in my inbox on various forms of social media, and those responses, Ray, were all over the board. Like I had some people who may be very close to us were literally dancing, not literally because the grave wasn't dug yet, but they was dancing on the metaphorical grave.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
That's not what they said exactly, Ray, but the sentiment was there. They were very happy. This man was no longer with us. I had a few friends on the other side that were just crestfallen and heartbroken and felt like a piece of themselves was no longer here. But for the most part, the majority of the people that hit me up were kind of like where I was when I heard the news. Like, to Terry Bollea's own words, it's just kind of like, what you gonna do? Like, that's how I felt about it. It's like no sadness, no anger, no joy. It's just like, okay, it sucks, I guess. And I think that to me is the enduring legacy of Terry Bollea. It's like, you did all these great things in the wrestling business. Yeah, you was this big star. But at the end of the day, what did you do with your life? And if you look down right here, Ray's got it on the screen. Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, 8/11/1953 to 7/24/2025. Also, I'm kind of glad that I don't have to share a birthday with Hulk anymore. Sorry, brother. Sorry, brother. I don't know which way you're going, brother. That's between you and the big brother upstairs. But when you look at that date, man, and when you look at a tombstone, when you look at an obituary, one of the questions my dad always told me back in the day, and even to this day, like my birthday's coming up, and he sends me this text around my birthday every year. How's your dash going? What are you doing with your dash? What do you want to do with your dash? And for those that don't know, when you look at somebody's birth date and death date, the thing in the middle is the most important thing. That's the dash, because it signifies a life that has been lived. And if you look at Terry Bollea's dash, Chris, what you see is a lot of selfishness. What you see is a lot of what can I do for me versus what can I do for we. What you see is, yes, this performer that, had a lot of great moments on screen, but you also see this person that had an inability to be genuine, an inability to be honest, to be truthful. You see a person that harbored these thoughts about race and harbored these thoughts about the way America should be. You see, and Ray brought this point up on social media a few days ago, you see this person that could not separate character from person, to the point where when he goes to the RNC, Chris, they don't announce, hey, Terry Bollea is coming to the RNC. No. Hulk Hogan is coming to the RNC. And I feel like, we've had plenty of MAGA superstars in the world of professional wrestling. Undertaker, Kane, EC3 on these streets, Raquel Gonzalez, Raquel Rodriguez, shout out to MAGA Mommy. Our girl Nikita Lyons, MAGA the Stallion on these streets. So like conservatives and even MAGA conservatives in wrestling is not a new thing. What made it different for Hulk Hogan, in my opinion, Chris, my opinion, Ray, is that he took the character of Hulk Hogan and infused it with his MAGA leanings, infused it with his views on the world, infused it with the way he treated people. And I think that is what sticks out to people. And there's a reason why his final moments in this business that he helped to build was being booed out of a damn stadium. Not
Right.
because of anything he did in the ring, Chris. They wasn't booing him because his matches wasn't good. They wasn't booing him because of his promos. They were booing him because he was a terrible person who was on the wrong side of history.
And contrary to what he said, he was not playing heel. He was that night.
Yeah.
And then that's, to me, Chris, is kind of the legacy of Hulk Hogan. Like, obviously the wrestling stuff is going to be the majority of his legacy, but you can't extricate the last 5 years of his life from the totality of that dash, because that's kind of like, so that was the real you the whole time, Terry. And there's a reason, like, a lot of fans who grew up loving Hulk Hogan will never be cool with Terry Bollea. And so, yeah, like it's not complicated, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it's not complicated when we're looking at who Hulk Hogan is, when we're looking at who Terry Bollea was. And so, like, yeah, this is not a complicated issue. It's not something we got to wrestle with. It's not something that I've got to spend up nights just thinking about, like, how am I supposed to feel about Terry Bollea? Like, yeah, he may have given you some good moments as a performer, but you feel the way about Terry Bollea that you feel about anybody that is racist, about anybody that holds on to extreme views, about anybody that is undermining the beliefs of the country that they say they love. And so for me, like, yeah, like, I'm not dancing on his grave, Chris. I'm not happy that Terry Bollea is no longer with us. I just think it's sad the way that this ended up for him, because he is the one who could have changed the narrative about himself. If he had taken accountability, Chris, if he had said, you know, instead of saying, oh, the lesson I learned through all of this, brother, you got to watch what you say because cameras are all around. Like, that ain't the lesson, Terry. The lesson is try to be a better person. The lesson is try to be a better human being. Like, if you believe in all this real American gaga, brother, if you believe in all of that, then live up to what you've been trying to tell these kids all these years, what you've been trying to tell these fans all these years. And so for me, Chris, yeah, there is no like, oh, sadness, like, oh man, we lost a good one. It's like, no, a person who wasn't a good person died. He made a lot of memories for a lot of people because of what he was on TV, but that was not who he was in real life. And so it's up to history to judge Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, history is going to judge this guy. Like you said, he wasn't a good person. And I think people, like, because people were like, well, why isn't anyone doing this to the Ultimate Warrior or whoever else and stuff? I think the difference between the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan is Ultimate Warrior, he said some shit too before he died. But I think he's looked at more as a guy who went to work and wanted to go the fuck home. I don't think he was like, I don't think he played the political games that Hulk Hogan played. Well, Ultimate Warrior was he operated under a real simple cognition, right? Run him his money, or he was going to go the fuck home. It was really that simple with that guy. And I think there's, you know, there's some respect to be had for that. I know people said that he messed up paydays because of it, but Ultimate Warrior is his own person.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Hulk Hogan actively made sure guys did not get more over than he was, you know.
Actively fought against the unionization.
Yeah, actively fought against unionization, actively fought against certain guys getting pushed. Actively, if you were one of his lackeys, that is what you were going to stay your whole career.
Right.
Not saying Ed Leslie, Brutus Beefcake was a good wrestler, but once he became Hogan's lackey, that was his job, you know.
Right.
His job was, he was a Hogan gopher. That was what that's what he was put on earth to do. You know, Jimmy Hart, yeah.
Yep. And I'm glad you kind of made that comparison with him and with Warrior. Another comparison that I saw made, and this one was by Andy Murray from World Culture Wrestling, and shout out to Andy and those guys. Yeah. One comparison and contrast that he made that I thought was spot on was Jay Briscoe.
Yeah.
Jay Briscoe said some things about the LGBTQ plus community online, and he numerous times dropped the F word,
Right.
the slur against
Yeah. Remember it well.
Right. And so the difference between him and Hogan is that with Jay, once people confronted him and say, hey, that's not right, you got to get it together, instead of doubling down, this brother listened, he heard them out, and then he realized the error of his ways. I think he donated to some causes that were friendly to LGBTQ rights, and he saw the error of his ways, like you said, Nate. And I hate, first off, miss me with the, oh, everybody not perfect, you ain't perfect, he wasn't perfect. Miss me with all that. Are you trying to progress and become a better person?
Right.
When I look, these statements were made in 2006. The video was leaked in, I want to say, 2012. And
it was 2015. This is an ironic thing about this. Hogan died on the anniversary.
Anniversary.
Yep. 10-year anniversary.
Audio.
10 years anniversary.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Chris, because Mike Mills, shout out to brother Mike Mills from Booking the Territories, another excellent podcast y'all should check out. But Mike Mills hit me up over the weekend. He was like, Nate, it's crazy. 10 years to the day of that tape coming out is when Terry passed. And then 2 days or 3 days after that was the first time I asked you to be a guest on Booking the Territories, and we talked about Hogan. And that was like the first time me and Mike Mills had connected. And I was like, you know what, brother? At least one good thing came out of that sex tape, and that's me and Mike Mills' friendship.
Right, yeah. Because I remember, like, I was going through my Facebook memories a couple days ago, and that was one of the things that came up because I posted all on Facebook on that whole day, and it was Terry's apology, and I was like, this bullshit artist and all this other stuff. And yeah, he died on the anniversary of that shit, man, which is just absolutely nuts, man. You know, it's call it serendipitous, karma, whatever, you know.
But the point I was making, but yeah, I think that was the anniversary of the audio that came out. But the point I made was that was almost, I think, when he actually said it was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Between that time and when it came out, how did he improve as a person? Did he improve as a person?
Yeah.
Did he want to get himself together? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then when it comes out, and then fast forward 10 years to now that he passed, has he become a better person since then? Has he learned from his actions? Has he progressed? Has he tried to correct himself and not fall into those same pit holes? If we look at like the last few years of his life, it doesn't look that way. And so miss me with the whole, oh, nobody's perfect, but are you trying to be better? And I think you said it, Nate. Are you trying to be a better man? Are you trying to be a better person? Are you trying to be a better human being to those around you? Only he can answer. Well, only he could have answered that question up until his final breath. So, but with all the evidence that we see, it doesn't look like that was the case.
And the crazy thing is, everything about Hulk Hogan's public life, everything about Hulk Hogan's public life was a work. Whether it's him being in the ring, Chris, whether it's him and his stints in Hollywood, whether it's him, you know, spinning lie after lie after lie in this novel, in his autobiography to try to tell people about his life, whether it's a reality show, whether it is, you know, this MAGA thing, because spoiler alert, Hulk Hogan really wasn't into no damn politics.
Right, yeah.
He found another group of marks that he could get to cheer him on and stroke his ego and buy his products. Again, so Hulk Hogan, from the beginning to the end, was a worker through and through. And so then the question is, the one time it was a shoot, brother.
Yeah.
The one time it was a shoot is when we saw the real you. And a lot of people don't rock with that. And there's a reason why these conversations have been coming out. And it's not just after you pass. We were having these conversations 10 years ago. We were having these conversations 5 years ago. And so now that your life has a period, there is no longer a dash that is being lived. And we have a finite end to the Terry Bollea story. A lot of people have their minds made up. And unfortunately for you, like, they don't have a positive view of you. The last thing I'll say on this, Chris, is because I don't want to come off as insensitive to his family.
Right.
Especially Brooke. Like, I think Brooke was cool, like in TNA. Again, TNA, a company that Hulk Hogan almost killed because of his selfishness. Let's not forget where he had the owner of the company on her knees, literally begging this man to stay in the company in one of his final appearances on TNA because of his ego. But Brooke, his family, I do feel for them. I do feel for somebody like a Sting.
Yep.
Who I think we all can say Steve Borden is a good person. And he came out with some heartfelt words about Hulk. And while I don't agree with them, I don't know their relationship, but I also think Sting is somebody who tries to see the best in everybody. So I have no problem with Sting's words about Terry Bollea. But for everybody else who's like, oh, you need to show more respect to Terry. You need to show more reverence and you need to lionize his contributions to the business. Nobody's taking anything away from what Hulk Hogan meant to the professional wrestling industry. But we ain't got time to lionize somebody who, to his final day, to his last breath, was out here living a lie. Yeah, a lie. And again, like, nobody's perfect, Ray, but we can all try to be better. And I never once had the sense that Terry Bollea was interested in getting better, Chris.
Right, yeah. The last thing I'll say on this is in 2015, when he got caught on that hot mic, seeing that stuff, he tried to avoid the topic as much as he could.
Yep.
Then once, even in 2000, he kind of shut up. Once MAGA became a thing again, is when he decided to jump on the MAGA bandwagon. This guy was such a wimp with even his bigotry that he put so political with his bigotry. He didn't want to jump on MAGA until he saw that it was a trendy thing to do for some people. And that was an opportunity he was looking at for also, Hogan is the kind of piece of shit, and I hate saying it like this, but he's the kind of guy who, like Donald Trump, he cares about other rich people. He doesn't care about the working class man. He doesn't care about or didn't care about, regular people, and this is just stuff that he's kind of admitted to, I remember what he did with the marketer for his his beer,
Yep.
It's like
allegedly.
Like legacy is more. Well, he's dead now, so now I can say he did it and not get sued.
He's got you there, Ray. He's got you there.
That
don't let Brooke see this.
Yeah, that kind of stuff only applies to living people. Once they pass away,
statute of limitations is passed. It's forever, Chris.
You can say what you want to say about them. But yeah, man, it's just, it's just story after story after story about this. So, got to get that away. When y'all are ready to talk about the cool stuff he did, man, I don't know if on this episode or whatever episode, I'll talk about that too. I got no problem giving Hulk Hogan his due because he was a part of some very cool. My earliest memory of Hulk Hogan was my uncle was him first joining the WWF in '84. I was 3 years old, and my uncle put on a tape of Bob Backlund calling him to the ring. And now that I look at it as an older thing, it's like, oh, if I'm Bob Backlund, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get replaced.
Hold on, you want me to train my replacement?
Right.
Yeah. So is just it's iconic moments, but he's awesome. We got to put in perspective his being, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
and again, the thing is, we didn't do that. The
Right.
people didn't do that. Terry Bollea did that.
Yes.
So that's the reason. Like, if you want to blame somebody, why are people having these conversations? Why can't people just talk about the good stuff? It's because of what he did.
Right.
So,
And
go ahead, Ray.
If I could just have one last word on it. We were talking earlier that it's kind of coincidental that it's 10 years after the audio of the tape is released. Because one other person made that observation, and that's friend of the program and friend of the network, SB3 from True Hill Heat. And so, I'm bringing this up because a legacy is what you leave behind and how you have affected people. And so,
Okay,
I'm
Alexander
gonna bring up
Hamilton.
the tweet for SP3. So pretty much he mentions exactly what you said, Nate, or I think it was you, Chris. Hulk Hogan dying on the 10-year anniversary of his racist rant caught on tape is crazy work, I must say. And this is how one of Hulk Hogan's quote unquote fans responded in that tweet. The gentleman on the left, I am not familiar with, but it looks like a mugshot with surrender plastered on his face. And then the picture to the right is Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
These are the people that 45, 47, these are the people that he and Hulk Hogan have emboldened because of their celebrity and because of their complicity with going along with everything. These are the people that they have emboldened, that they have pretty much endorsed for them to go ahead and say these things and to post things out in public. This is the legacy. This is part of the legacy that man has.
Yep. So again, to close out this segment, just by saying R.I.P. to Malcolm Jamal Warner, R.I.P. to Ozzy Osbourne, and I was gonna say R.I.P. to Terry Bollea, Ray, but that doesn't work for me, brother.